Good afternoon, students. Today we will start our fifth module, that is cost sheet. Okay, so we already studied a small portion of the cost sheet in the first module, isn't it? First module we already see the cost sheet where direct material cost, direct labor cost, and direct expenses together constitute prime cost, and then we see after the prime cost all the overheads is coming like factory overhead. Then we add the factory overhead is the prime cost, so it is the factory cost or the work cost. Then office or administration overhead, that is the second one, means we add the work cost with the office overhead or administration overhead. We got it office cost or administration cost. Then after that, selling and distribution cost is to be added with overheads is to be added with that thing, means administration cost or office cost. We will get the cost of production or total cost. Then sales and total cost, there is the difference between the profit or difference between these two is the profit as well as the loss, as the case may be. That we see already in the first module. In continuation for that, what is a cost sheet and what are its ingredients like that, and a simple cost sheet we see, and other than that simple cost sheet, what are the difficulty with regard to the cost sheet, means what are the adjustments with regard to that, we will see in this module. So we see material in the second module, labor in the third module, and overheads in the fourth module. These together three constitute what is that the cost sheet. So we will start with the usual that the theory portion with regard to that of the cost sheet. So preparation of cost sheet. Ascertainment of cost is one of the basic purpose of cost accounting. For the purpose, cost information has to be analyzed under various elements, functions, and behavior, and are presented in the most intelligible manner. Therefore, a cost sheet is a statement prepared to ascertain the cost of a product or rendering a service by collecting and accumulating the cost of the materials, labor, and overheads involved in the production of the product or rendering of service. So, production process alle service rendering, what all the cost of the material, labor, and overheads that is to be involved, or up to how much, what extent the proportion of the labor is to material is to overheads is there in the production process or for rendering a service, that is that statement is called cost sheet. So a cost sheet is a statement prepared to ascertain the cost of a product or rendering a service by collecting and accumulating the cost of the materials, the labor, and the overheads involved in the production of the product or rendering of services. It is prepared for a specific period such as a week, a month, a quarter, or a year. ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒരു വർഷത്തേക്ക് അല്ലെ ഒരു മാസത്തേക്ക് ആ രീതിയിലാണ് what need to be prepared, the cost sheet need to be prepared. The cost sheet being a memorandum statement, it does not it does not form the part of double entry cost accounting records. It may be defined as a detailed statement of the elements of the cost incurred in production that are arranged in a logical order under different heads such as materials, labor, and overheads, usually prepared at short intervals of time. So that is the case with regard to what cost sheet. Detailed statement of the elements of cost incurred in production that are arranged in a logical order under different heads such as material is there, labor is there, overheads is there, that are usually prepared at short intervals of time. Then importance or objectives of cost ascertainment or cost sheet. What are the importance with regard to the cost sheet? One is ascertaining the cost. Cost ascertainment means what? Calculation of the different cost is there. Cost sheet discloses the total cost as well as the cost per unit of the goods produced or the services rendered. So that is cost ascertainment. So it discloses the total cost as well as the cost per unit of the goods that are produced or services rendered. Next, cost estimation. Cost estimation. What is that? Estimating the cost. It is the process of predetermining the cost of a product to be manufactured or the services to be rendered. ഒരു സേവനം നടത്താനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ നടത്താനോ ഒരു മാനുഫാക്ചറിങ് ഓഫ് എ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് അതിന് ഒരു പ്രീ ഡിറ്റർമൈൻ മുന്നേ കൂട്ടി തീരുമാനിച്ചതായ കുറച്ച് ചെലവുകൾ നമ്മൾ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ that is the case with regard to cost estimation. Cost sheet is helpful for the purpose of cost estimation. So estimating the cost, ascertaining the cost, then fixation of selling price. Selling price. It requires correct information as to the cost of a product. Fixation of selling price requires the correct information as to the cost of a product. Hence, the cost sheet helps in fixing the selling price more accurately. So that is fixing the selling price. Then another one is cost control and cost reduction. Actually, this you already studied in the first module. Just to have a briefing of this. Cost control and reduction. Control so it is the process of controlling the cost by eliminating the wastages of any kind. ഏത് തരത്തിലുള്ള വേസ്റ്റേജിനെയും അങ്ങേയറ്റം വരെ ഇല്ലാതാക്കുക അതാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. സോ അതുവഴി കൺട്രോളിംഗ് ദ കോസ്റ്റ് ആൻഡ് റെഡ്യൂസിംഗ് ദി കോസ്റ്റ് ഓൾസോ. So cost reduction refers to the real and permanent reduction in the cost per unit of the goods manufactured or the services rendered without affecting their quality and suitability. These are made possible through proper collection, accumulation, and ascertainment of cost. So, cost control and reduction of the cost. Then, cost comparison. Comparing the different costs. Cost comparison. Okay, what is cost comparison? By providing a comparative study of the various elements of the current cost with the past result and the standard cost, it is possible to find out the adverse factors which led to the negative result and to rectify it. Adverse ആയിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കോസ്റ്റിംഗ് നിങ്ങൾ അടുത്ത സെമ്മിൽ പഠിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. 6th സെമ്മിൽ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കോസ്റ്റിംഗ്, അതായത് കോസ്റ്റിംഗ് 2 കോസ്റ്റ് അക്കൗണ്ടിംഗ് 2 സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കോസ്റ്റിംഗ് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിനകത്ത് ആക്ച്വൽ കോസ്റ്റും സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കോസ്റ്റും തമ്മിലുള്ള ഡിഫറൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അത് ചില മിക്ക കേസിലും ഫേവറബിൾ ആയിക്കൊള്ളണമെന്നില്ല. അഡ്വേഴ്സ് എഫക്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അഡ്വേഴ്സ് മീൻസ് അൺഫേവറബിൾ, നെഗറ്റീവ് എഫക്ട്. Negative effect or adverse or unfavorable situation undaengil, they need to rectify it. Means measures to be taken and rectifying it for such things. So that is comparing the cost. Okay, comparing with the actual and the standard. Then finally, submission of quotation or tender. Tender alle quotation submit ചെയ്യുന്നു. അതായത് പലയിടത്തു നിന്നുള്ള ഐറ്റംസ് എടുക്കുന്നു. ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ലിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഓഫ് ദ മെറ്റീരിയൽ, ദിസ് മച്ച് ലേബർ, ദിസ് മച്ച് എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ ലിസ്റ്റ് പലതരത്തിൽ നിന്ന്. അതിനകത്ത് ഏറ്റവും ലീസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളത് വി നീഡ് ടു ചൂസ്. അതാണ് സബ്മിഷൻ ഓഫ് quotation. Cost sheet helps the businessman to submit the quotations with a reasonable degree of accuracy against the tenders for the supply of the goods. So these are the objectives with regard to this one, cost accounting, or the need for this. What is ascertaining the cost, estimating the cost, fixing the selling price, cost control and cost reduction, then cost comparing to be done, and submission of the quotation. Next, what is that unit or output costing? What is a unit costing as well as output costing? Per unit cost, total cost ഉണ്ട്, അതിന്റെ number of units എത്രയാണോ അതുമായിട്ട് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്താൽ we will get the per unit cost. Okay, so cost per unit is equal to total cost divided by number of units. Total cost എത്രയാണ് തന്നിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അപ്പം 10,000 ആണ് ടോട്ടൽ കോസ്റ്റ്, നമ്പർ ഓഫ് യൂണിറ്റ്സ് 10 ആണെങ്കിൽ എത്രയാണ് 1000. Okay, 1000 is the per unit cost. Okay, so cost per unit is what? It is the unit costing is the method of costing applied in such industries where production is continuous and the units produced are identical in nature. So the units produced are ഇത്ര യൂണിറ്റ് ഉൽപ്പാദിപ്പിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, that are identical, but the total production will be different. That is the case. It is a method of ascertaining the cost per unit of a product. ഒരു പ്രോഡക്റ്റിന്റെ per unit cost കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിനാണ് യൂണിറ്റ് കോസ്റ്റിംഗ് or output costing പറയുന്നത്. It is applied where the output can be measured in convenient physical units, The physical units of measurement like ton, kilogram, meter, etc. are taken as the cost unit for cost ascertainment. Unit cost is also single or output cost. This method is This method is advantageously used in undertakings such as coal mines, cement works, bricks or tile works, etc. And the cost per unit is equal to TC divided by number of units. Total cost, മൊത്തം വരുന്ന ചെലവിനെ divided by എത്ര യൂണിറ്റ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് അതെടുത്താൽ ഓരോ per unit എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. So total cost divided by number of unit, that is the per unit cost. Clear? So that is the unit or output costing. Next, we see components of cost sheet. Components of cost sheet mainly the main is prime cost. Prime cost, the CIMA London defines prime cost as the total cost of what? Direct material. So it is the total of direct material, direct labor plus direct expenses. So ഇത് മൂന്നിന്റെ കൂടെ ഡയറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള പാർട്ട് അത് മൂന്നിന്റെ കൂടെ ടോട്ടൽ എടുത്താൽ it is denoted by the prime cost. It is the cost of resources that are the basic for bringing out the final product. Or final output അല്ലെ final product വരുത്തുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് റിസോഴ്സസിന്റെ ചെലവാണ്. അതായത് മെറ്റീരിയൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിസോഴ്സസ്, ലേബർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിസോഴ്സസ്, എക്സ്പെൻസസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിസോഴ്സസ്, നേരിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതായത് നേരിട്ട് അതിന്റെ പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പ്രോസസ്സ് അല്ലെ സർവീസസ് റെൻഡർ ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് വരുന്ന ചെലവ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണോ അതാണ്. പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പ്രോസസ്സിലുള്ളതാണ് മെയിൻ. ഓക്കെ, so that is the prime cost. Therefore, PC is equal to cost of raw materials consumed plus direct labor plus direct expenses. So DM plus DA plus DE, that is the prime cost calculation. Clear? So this is the prime cost, one component. Then what is direct material cost? Direct material cost is the, so we need to check it each and everything. Direct material, direct labor cost, direct expenses. So we will check this one, direct material. So what is that? It is the cost of the materials which can be clearly traced and identified in the product, job, cost center or cost unit. It is the cost of materials used for a specific product or service or department. In the first, second module, detailed ആയിട്ട് പഠിച്ചതാണ്. According to CIMA, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, London, direct material cost is the cost of materials entering into and becoming the constituent elements of a product or saleable service, and which can be identified separately in the product cost. ഒരു ഉൽപാദനം ഉൽപ്പാദിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ട ഡയറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഇൻവോൾവ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂവന്റ് എലമെന്റ്സ് ഓഫ് എ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ആണ് എന്ത്? ഡയറക്റ്റ് മെറ്റീരിയൽ കോസ്റ്റ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ടിംബർ യൂസ്ഡ് ഇൻ മാനുഫാക്ചറിംഗ് വുഡൻ ഫർണിച്ചർ, gold in manufacturing gold jewelry, sugarcane in manufacturing the sugar. Therefore, cost of raw materials consumed in a formula under cost of raw materials consumed is equal to opening stock of materials plus purchases of material plus direct expenses. Sorry, but material. So opening stock plus purchase of material minus closing stock of material. അതായത് ഓപ്പണിംഗ് സ്റ്റോക്ക് ഓഫ് മെറ്റീരിയൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിൽ ഇപ്പം അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റോക്ക്, അതിന്റെ കൂടെ പർച്ചേസ് ഓഫ് ദ മെറ്റീരിയൽ, ഇത് രണ്ടും കൂടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്തതിനു ശേഷം ക്ലോസിംഗ് സ്റ്റോക്ക്, നമ്മുടെ മുന്നേ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന സ്റ്റോക്ക് അതെടുക്കുക. അതാണ് എന്തുമാത്രം മെറ്റീരിയൽ കൺസ്യൂം ചെയ്തു എന്ന് അറിയാനായിട്ടുള്ള മാർഗം. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, see, stock of raw materials on opening date 12,000, purchase of the materials 34,000, stock of raw materials on closing date 15,000. So 12 plus 34 minus 50. So it is 31,000. That is the cost of materials consumed. That is the material cost. Then we see what is direct labor cost. Direct labor cost means it can be distinctly and clearly identified to a product, job, cost center or cost unit. The labor employed in production of that particular thing, otherwise for rendering a service, that is the direct labor cost. It refers to a specific cost of workers used to make a particular product or to provide a particular service. So that is the case. What is that? Direct labor cost. According to CIMA London, direct labor cost is the cost of the remuneration for the employees' efforts and skill applied directly to a product or a saleable service, and which can be identified separately in product cost. So the labor employed in the production process, isn't it? ആ ഒരു സ്റ്റേജിൽ എത്തിക്കുക, the labor part, how much labor is to be employed for bringing that thing into the product. So that is the direct labor cost. So the cost of remuneration for the employee's efforts and the skill that are applied directly to a product or a saleable service and which can be identified separately in product cost. Example, wages paid to carpenter for manufacturing a furniture, wages paid to goldsmith for manufacturing a gold jewelry. And the third one, direct expenses. What is that? These are the expenses which can be clearly traced or identified to a job, product, or a cost center. These are the expenses which have been incurred in full in making a particular product or providing a service or running a department. അതായത് ഡയറക്റ്റ് മെറ്റീരിയലും ഡയറക്റ്റ് ലേബറും അല്ലാതെ നേരിട്ട് പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പ്രോസസ്സിൽ വരുന്ന എന്തെല്ലാം ചെലവുകളുണ്ടോ അതിനകത്താണ് നേരിട്ട് that is to be directly traced, okay, or clearly identified. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള expenses, that is direct expenses. According to CIMA London, direct expenses are the cost other than the material and labor which can be identified in a specific product or a saleable service. Example, cost of making a model or special design before starting the work of manufacturing a product, or the royalty paid for manufacturing a product, or the experimental expenses for manufacturing an item like that. So these are the direct expenses. So we see direct material cost, direct labor cost, and direct expenses. Example are stock of raw material 1st January 2015, stock of raw materials 31st March, so opening, closing, and then purchase of raw material during the period 1,50,000, paid for direct labor 30,000, and direct expenses 4,000. So the prime cost will be in this way. We need to calculate prime cost PC, that is, what is that? Cost of materials consumed. That is 40,000 is the opening plus purchase is how much? 1,50,000. That is how much? 1,90,000. Then from this we need to deduct what? The 60,000, that is the closing stock. So it is how much it is coming? 1,30,000. That is the cost of raw materials consumed, RM consumed. Then next is direct labor. How much it is? 30,000. Then direct expenses is for how much? 4,000. So 164. That is what the prime cost. See, 1,64,000. In this way, the prime cost is to be before the indirect things. This is all direct. Direct raw material, direct labor, direct expenses. Together constitute what? Prime cost. Clear? So this is the case with regard to prime cost. Then next is factory cost. What is a factory cost? Factory സംബന്ധമായിട്ടുള്ള indirect overheads എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that comes the factory cost. So it is, excuse me, it is known as work cost, production cost, or manufacturing cost. Factory cost refers to the total cost incurred in the production stage. The total cost incurred in the production stage. അതായത് പ്രൊഡക്ഷന് വരുന്ന എത്രയാണോ ടോട്ടൽ ചെലവ് അതാണ് it constitute the factory cost. It is the prime cost plus factory overhead cost. So PC, how it is to be, you know. And factory overheads, that is the factory cost or work cost. Clear? Excuse me. Factory overhead cost is also termed as factory own cost. അപ്പോൾ പല പേരിലുണ്ട്. work cost എന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്നത്, then factory own cost എന്നറിയപ്പെടും, or factory cost എന്നറിയപ്പെടും. Then factory overhead includes cost of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses in factory. Factory indirect ആയിട്ടുള്ള that cannot be traced directly or identified directly, like material, labor, and the expenses. മൂന്ന് കേസും അത് indirect part എവിടെയാണ്? ഫാക്ടറിയിലെ. that is all constitute factory overhead. So prime cost plus factory overheads, the factory cost of work cost. Next, the cost of production, or what is that? Office and administration overhead need to be added. It is also known as the office cost. Cost of production എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഓഫീസ് സംബന്ധമായ ചെലവുകൾ എവിടെ ഉണ്ടോ അത് അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേറ്റീവ് കോസ്റ്റ്. It can be defined as the cost which is arrived at by adding the office or administrative overhead to factory cost. So, office overhead to be added with the what factory cost or work cost, we get the cost of production COP or office cost. Office cost അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഓഫീസ് കോസ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെന്താ കോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ എന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്നു. സോ administrative overhead refers to all the costs that are incurred on the management and the maintenance of the records. റെക്കോർഡ് കീപ്പ് ചെയ്യണ്ടേ, അതിന് വരുന്ന ഓഫീസ് സംബന്ധമായ എന്തെല്ലാം ചെലവുകളുണ്ടോ that all constitute the cost of production. So cost of production is equal to factory cost plus what is that? Factory cost plus office overhead. Then cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, COGS. Cost of goods sold means at the end of an accounting period, some quantity of the goods produced may be in stock as unsold goods. വിറ്റ് തീരാതെ ഫിനിഷ്ഡ് ഗുഡ്സ് ആക്കി അതിനെ അൺസോൾഡ് ആക്കി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു. ഓക്കെ, എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വിറ്റ് പോകാതെ കുറച്ച് ഗുഡ്സ് കാണും. അതിന്റെ ഓപ്പണിങ്ങും ക്ലോസിങ്ങും തമ്മിലുള്ള അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ്മെന്റ് ഇതിന്റെ കൂടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്താൽ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ കോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് COP or office cost in the കൂടെ add ചെയ്താൽ we will get the cost of goods sold. So at the end of an accounting period, some quantity of the goods produced may be in the stock as unsold goods. The value of the goods in the stock should be necessarily adjusted to find out the cost of goods sold. Therefore, COGS is equal to COP plus opening inventory of what finished goods minus closing inventory of finished goods. Isn't it? Finished goods means what? That is finished already the production, isn't it? And it is meant for the sale. അതിനു മുമ്പ് നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിലുള്ള അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ളതും മുന്നേ ഉള്ളതുമായിട്ടുള്ളതിന്റെ ഡിഫറൻസ് എടുക്കുക. അപ്പം നെറ്റ് എഫക്റ്റ് വരും. അത് COPയുടെ കൂടെ ഓഫീസ് കോസ്റ്റിന്റെ കൂടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്താൽ we will get the cost of goods sold. See, stock of finished goods എത്രയാണ്? 80,000. Stock of finished goods are 31,390,000. So COP എത്രയാണ്? 2,60,000 plus how much? We need to add 80,000 need to be added with this. 3,40,000 less how much? 90,000. So how much it is? 2,50,000 is the cost of goods sold. So COGS is equal to cost of production plus opening stock of finished goods minus closing stock of finished goods. Clear? So what all we see? Prime cost we see, factory cost we see, COP means cost of production or office cost or administrative cost we see, and then COGS, cost of goods sold, where the cost of production we will add the adjusting the opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods, the difference to be added with the cost of production, we will get the cost of goods sold. Then next, cost of sales or total cost. Cost of sales or total cost in the sense means sum total of the cost of goods sold and selling and distribution overhead. So cost of sales, COS or TS means, what is that? We will need to add with the COGS plus what is that? Selling and distribution overheads. So that is COS. സാധനം വിൽക്കാനായിട്ട് വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നതുണ്ട്, അതിന്റെ കൂടെ സെല്ലിംഗ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള എക്സ്പെൻസസും ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള എക്സ്പെൻസസും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that is called selling and distribution expenses. We need to add with the COGS. With that we will get the COS. So cost of sale is the sum total of the cost of goods sold and selling and distribution overhead. The selling and distribution expenses are the expenses incurred in the process of selling the goods. Selling cost is defined by CIMA as the cost incurred in securing the orders, usually including salesman's salary, commission, and traveling expenses. Those expenses related to the selling of the goods, while those expenses related to the distribution of the goods. until it reaches the customer hand, that is the distribution expenses. So these two are to be added with the COGS, then we will get the COS or TS, TC, total cost or COS, cost of sales, isn't it? So delivery van expenses, warehouse rent, etc. come under this category. And finally, the sales. It represents the amount at which the goods are sold. സാധനം വിൽക്കുന്നതിന്. The profit or loss of the business depends on the amount of sales and cost of sales. If the sale exceeds the cost of sale, it is profit. Rather, sale is higher than the cost of sale, that is the profit, and vice versa, it is the loss. Then we see what all things we see: prime cost, factory cost, then cost of production or administrative cost, then cost of goods sold, then cost of sales, and what is that? The sales. The chart showing components of total cost. See, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, prime cost or basic cost, prime cost plus works overhead, work cost plus office and administration overhead, cost of production plus selling and distribution, that is cost of sales plus profit or loss, that is the sales or the selling price per unit. So in this way, this is the cost sheet or cost statement. So how it is to be worked out? See, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. This is prime cost plus factory overheads, factory cost plus office overheads, that is office cost plus what is that? Office cost or COP, isn't it? Then that adjustment to be done. Office cost in the wood add a opening stock of finished goods, then lesser closing stock of finished goods. So COGS we got it. Then with this, we need to add a what? Selling and distribution overheads, that is the COS or total cost. Then plus profit or minus loss, that is the sales. This is the statement showing the cost, that is the cost sheet. Clear? So this is the thing you need to study in this module. See, format of a simple cost sheet. Cost sheet analyzes the cost information for a particular period. The cost sheet should give information about the product for which the cost data is presented and the period and the number of units for which the statement is prepared. A previous year's column is provided in order to compare the amount of components of cost for the current year with that of the previous year. In addition to the total cost column, cost per unit column is also provided, as it is the basic of cost control. The cost of production per unit is also important to fix the selling price per unit. See, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, prime cost, add factory overhead, factory cost or work cost, add administrative overhead, cost of production, add selling and distribution expenses, that is cost of sales or total cost, add profit or deduct loss, that is the sales or selling price per unit. That is, one column is for what? Total cost, and the other is for the per unit cost. Then we will do one simple problem with this for the simple cost sheet. See, this is simple cost sheet. Following information relates to a toy gun manufacturing company for the 3 months ending 31st March 2018. So how it is to be? Direct materials consumed 18,000. Direct labor it is 12,000. Direct expenses it is 4,000. Factory overhead 6,000. Administrative overhead 4,500. Selling and distribution overhead 2,500. 1,000 units of the toy gun are produced during the period, and all the units are produced and sold at what? 55. So 1,000 into 55, total sales is how much? 55,000. Understood? That is for that purpose this thing is to be done in giving here. Prepare a cost sheet showing prime cost, factory cost, cost of production, cost of sales, and profit or loss. So in this way, cost sheet here and this way. This is the per unit. How much? 1000 per unit, isn't it? The question has come under. This is the total cost amount. Then this is the particulars. Firstly, direct materials consumed. How much it is? 18,000. There is no item to adjust, so need to put it here. 18,000. So 18, isn't it? 1.8 18. Look, 18 in this way. Okay. Then direct labor, how much it is? 12,000. So 12. Then direct expenses on top, 4,000. So 4. Prime cost, how much? So 34,000 and 34 is the per unit cost. And what is that? Factory overheads. How much it is? 6,000. So it is 6. So it is what? Factory cost or work cost. So it is 40,000. Then add administration overhead. How much it is? 4,500. So 4.5. So 4450, 44,500. So this is what administration overhead need to add. That is okay. Office cost. Okay. Then selling and distribution. There is no adjustment item. So S&T overheads. How much it is? 2,500. So 2.50. How much? 44 plus 2. 46. 500 plus 47,000. Then this is what COS or total cost. Then selling and distribution overhead already. Okay, 2.50. Then what is there else? Sales is there. How much? 1,000 into 55. So 55,000. Then take the difference. How much it is? 47 minus 55. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8,000. So 8 is the per unit. So this is the profit and see, look, 8,000 is the profit. So direct material consumed, direct labor, direct expenses together constitute prime cost. Prime cost and factory overhead, we get the factory cost or work cost. With this work cost and administration overhead, we will get office cost. Then after that, selling and distribution overhead, we need to add with the office cost, we will get the cost of sales or total cost. With that cost of sales or total cost, we will take the sales, the difference. That difference may be the profit or not. So in this case, 8,000 is the profit. So per unit profit is how much? Rupees 8. 8 rupees veche per unit profit. Clear? So this is the simple cost sheet. We will do it the double cost sheet or do detailed cost sheet in the later class. We will do one more problem for that in the practice problem area. So simple cost sheet, under that, what is the direct material consumed? How much it is? 66,000. So same 1,000 per unit, isn't it? 1,000 per units are produced during the period and the entire production is sold at 150. So 150 into 1,000, so 1,50,000 is the total sales. Clear? Prepare a cost sheet showing prime cost, factory cost, cost of production, cost of sales, profit or loss. So 66,066 rupees, that is that. What is the direct labor cost? Direct labor cost 24,000. So 24. Then direct expenses, how much? 10,000. So 10, isn't it? So prime cost is how much? 66 plus 20, 86 plus 4, 90 plus 1, 100. So 1 lakh is how much? Prime cost and this is 100. Okay. 24 plus 1, 34. 66 plus 30, 96 plus 4, 100. So prime cost. And what? Factory overheads. Factory overheads is how much? 12,000. That is to be added here. So 12 rupees. So 112 and 112,000. That is the work cost or factory cost. See, 112,000. Then administrative expenses we need to add with this. Administrative expenses, how much it is? 8,000. So 8. So 112 plus 8, 120,000. So it is 120 per unit. So that is what office cost. Add selling and distribution overheads. How much it is? 4,000. So 4. So 124,000. 124. That is the cost of sales or total cost. In the simple costing, there is no adjustment. So total cost is there. Cost rate, cost of sales is or total cost is 124. And how much is the sales? 1,50,000. That is the here. See, 1,000 units were produced and sold at rupees 150. So 150 is the per unit selling price. So the first is what? Add a profit because sales is more, isn't it? So 150 minus 124. How much? 26,000. So 26,000 is the per unit, 26,000 is the total cost. This is total in case of the profit, and 26 is the per unit cost of for the profit. So see, this is the case with regard to simple cost sheet. So please have a look at the theory portion with regard to this simple cost sheet or the cost sheet we see today. And also please do the as much as problems from the question papers and also in this model. We will see the detailed cost sheet in the next class. So till that time, please clear your doubts as and when as and when occurred. And also please have a look at this. Please confirm the video after uploading. Thank you for today.